have seen me doing there was just, okay, I'm whispering because I have housemates. Whoa. But yeah, what you'll have seen me doing there was testing my resting heart rate and my heart rate variability, which is essentially a measure of how much variation there is between beats of your heart, as it suggests. And it's essentially just a reading that can tell you how your overall systemic health is, how prepared you are for the day, because it essentially gauges whether you're in a more parasympathetic or sympathetic nervous system dominant state. So if you're in a sympathetic state, then that typically tells you you've got a lot of stress, or you've maybe had a lot of caffeine, or you're very worn out from training or something like that, or your sleep's been really poor. And my sleep wasn't that great last night, and I have had quite a bit of caffeine this morning. I just had my pre-workout caffeine as well because I'm about to go and train, and I've been walking around the house and things, so I'm a little bit more hyped up. I wouldn't exactly say I'm relaxed, and that's kind of reflected in my heart rate variability this morning, which is just slightly lower than it was yesterday. So yesterday my reading was 74, and today my reading, so today HRV was 69. So it's a little bit lower, still well above average in terms of being toward the parasympathetic state, being a little bit more relaxed. So we're still kind of above average, still happy with that reading, but ideally I want to see it above in the 70s, to kind of tell me that I am recovered well for life and training and things like that. Like, obviously life is my priority, you know, my training, my nutrition and everything is gauged toward health. I want to be the best human I possibly can. So sleeping not so good last night. I don't mean length, like I actually did make an effort to get in enough sleep. I tried to get 7 hours, but I did wake twice during the night, and obviously not ideal. So quality wasn't that great, and I could tell, felt a bit groggy this morning. And that's something that's important to be aware of, is how you're actually feeling. You know, people always think of numbers and they want to gauge everything off of numbers, and I love data. I love having as many numbers associated with my health and my physique and everything. But what is more important is actually remaining, like, you know, having the ability to have an insight into how you actually feel and to interpret that appropriately. Because if you're not actually maintaining awareness of how you feel, then that's not really a good place to be. So yeah, that's HRV and heart rate. Again, I forgot to do it first thing in the morning, which is kind of annoying. So from here on, I'm going to be doing that first thing because I just forgot, and I forgot yesterday as well. And I ended up doing it after a pile of caffeine, which is going to throw the reading off, not going to make it very, very reliable. So yeah, that's that. I'm going to go and train now, and I'm training back. I'm going to take you with me. I did get a new phone, as I said, and the goal of that is to be able to vlog in the gym, because the 70D, not very practical to bring to the gym in UL because it is really, really busy, and there's not a whole pile of places to actually put a tripod or anything without getting in the way of people. So yeah, gonna bring that. And I know the last session you saw with Paddy was his back training, and this is also going to be my back training, which is going to have a couple of different modifications because of the equipment that I have, and I'll try and make sure that what I'm talking about is slightly different to what he spoke about. So if you haven't watched Paddy's video yet, go back and watch that, because it gives you a really good insight into his and our thought process around training, and then I will hopefully be able to add a bit to that. So yeah, I'm ready to go and train, and I'll see you guys in the gym.
Alright, so exercise 1 is my heaviest exercise of the day, meaning that I'm going to really push it to failure here, at least on my first set. So the goal here is to work up to one set where I'm failing on the last rep of 10 reps. So I'm going quite heavy here, and this Cybex machine is absolutely beautiful for that purpose, because the resistance profile perfectly matches my actual force output abilities here with the lats in the position they're in. Okay, so with a rowing movement, we're going to be strongest when the arms are furthest away from the body, and we're going to be getting weaker as we move into that shortened range of the lats. So this machine is beautifully designed so that the resistance there when my arms are furthest away is greater, and then it actually starts to drop off as I move into the shortened range. So what this then allows for is greater overload on the actual target tissue of the lats, while keeping stability locked in the whole time while having that chest pad there. So it works really, really well, but obviously you don't all have access to one of these. So second movement then, we're working overhead. Again, the focus being on the lats. So anytime we're working the lats and trying to put focus there, we need to maintain stability at the scapula and the shoulder joint. So what you'll see here at the start of every single repetition is that the rep is initiated by me depressing my scapula, driving my shoulder down along the back of my body as if I'm trying to tuck my shoulders into my back pocket. So what that does is set those into position, and then thereafter all the movement is being produced by the lats. So here I'm just thinking about my hands being hooks. I'm pulling through my pinky finger, and I'm actually thinking about where my elbows are going. So I'm trying to get my elbows down while keeping the shoulders in a stable position, and then move those elbows in tight against my sides with intent on squeezing those lats hard in that bottom position. So most important cue here, guys, is to keep those shoulder blades locked down and back. You'll see a lot of people shrugging up on this exercise, particularly in that bottom position. It's absolutely fine to do it at the top when you're trying to enhance that stretch a bit, but get them down there in that bottom position. Next up on the menu, we had a single arm dumbbell row, and the goal here is to challenge those lats right into their shortened position. Now, a lot of people just cheat themselves here and swing the weight around, and I'm not entirely happy with my technique here either, because they have been out of my program for quite a while. But a couple of things I am focused on is putting my weight onto that right leg on the same side of the arm that I'm actually using to provide stability up along that side of the spine toward the shoulder and the scapula. Now the next thing is, you'll see in that bottom position I'm allowing for some stretch between the scapula, but my first movement is to pinch that shoulder right back and retract that scapula. You'll also notice my elbow position. My arm never comes shorter than a 90-degree angle because I'm thinking about pulling back with the elbow toward the hip as opposed to moving with the muscles of the elbow. So prior to this, I did have some rear delt trap and other arm work, but what I want to show you here is this reverse barbell curl and a couple of things that I am focused on. So the goal here is to target the brachioradialis and posterior compartment of the forearm a bit more than the bicep itself, along with the brachialis, okay? So one of the main things you need to focus on here is actually keeping your shoulder blades locked in position, okay? If you don't, movement is going to come from elsewhere other than the elbow joint. And you'll see that my elbow is locked to my side. It's stuck in one position throughout every single rep, even as I approach failure. You'll also notice I'm using an easy bar, which is a little bit less stressful on the wrist because not everyone can grip a straight barbell with this degree of pronation at the wrist. So that's another thing to keep in mind. But of course, the key here is, like always, control, control, control. So I just realised I have stretching to do, so I'm going to go over here and do that. And while I walk there, slowly, because my legs are dead, I'm going to talk to you. So stretching, particularly after something like HIIT, where you've been really, really taxed, is quite beneficial in terms of, you know, not ramping up, but bringing down your nervous system state to more of a parasympathetic dominant state, like we spoke of this morning when I was measuring my heart rate. And what that's then going to allow me to do is just bring down that heightened system. You know, I'm all kind of hyped up at the moment. You've got all these catecholamines rushing around my body from all the really, really difficult exercise. And essentially we want to relax the body a touch so I can go home and be focused on work, as opposed to, you know, being in this kind of hyped up state. And it's not like you're going to stay in that state all day, but by stretching post-workout or doing any sort of relaxation technique, it allows you to bring down that heightened state and get you into a more relaxed state where you're primed for digestion, primed for things like sitting down, studying, focusing, being a little bit more clear mentally, and not feeling like your head is about to pop. So obviously those relaxation techniques, such as guided breathing, such as meditation or stretching, is one that I like, coupled with controlled breathing. All of those things that people do, it's not so much which is better, it's whichever allows you to get into a relaxed state. And that's the same for all modalities, such as myofascial release techniques, like your foam rolling, like using lacrosse ball, cryotherapy, all things like that that people do after training in an attempt to enhance recovery. A lot of what they're just doing is allowing you to relax, allowing your mind and your body to become, or enter rather, that more parasympathetic, relaxed, rest and digest state, which is obviously what we want. We want to optimize our recovery. That's one of the reasons elite athletes are so good at recovering compared to the general population, because they're typically
structuring their day around training. They're having naps during the middle of the day. They're able to relax and put their feet up. But those of us that work all day can't do that, unfortunately. A lot of us are on our feet all day. So we are going to be in that more kind of heightened state, especially if we have our boss in our ear. You know, we're going to be in a more stressed state. So taking the time to actually allow your body to relax through whichever means that is beneficial. And this can be as simple as simply spending time with people you enjoy in good company, or taking some time away from being stressed out and focused on one thing, and just allowing yourself to become a bit more free mentally and physically. All those things are beneficial, and which one you do, I don't think is that important. I think it's whichever is going to allow you to, you know, enjoy your life a bit more. It's the same when it comes to sleep and enhancing sleep. If we can spend time with our loved ones in the evening, not focusing on things that are stressing us out, that's going to benefit our sleep by putting us in a more relaxed state, just like meditation will, just like journaling will, just like stretching will, foam rolling, etc. You know, we don't need to get into the physiological stuff, like, you know, people have all these theories as to what stretching does and as to what myofascial release does and to what meditation does. I think just understanding that they're all means of relaxing is the most important thing, and then you can use the one that makes you feel best and allows you to feel the most relaxed after training or during a period of stress. And one more thing, it's important to not try and detach the physical reflections of stress from psychological stress, because for example, if we really tight muscles, that is a physical thing that we're seeing, a physical sign of our body being under stress. But overall, we have to look at the stress that both our body and our mind is under. And if we can release some of that muscle tension that is a reflection of stress, then what we can do is begin to relax our whole body, which will affect you psychologically as well, trust me. And that's why, you know, I'm saying that it's not so important which method you choose, even though meditation and things would seem to be more psychological and stretching would seem to be more physical. Both of them will have similar effects in terms of turning on or pushing you toward a more parasympathetic nervous system state, relaxed state. So don't get too bogged down on, you know, things being physical or mental. Just recognize that we are mind, body beings, and that everything is connected, and that physiology is psychology, and that if we can just master ourselves as a whole, it's going to benefit the whole system. So don't worry about the specifics, just find a way of relaxing. I get so many questions about cooking oats. People just don't seem to get it. 1 second, actually I'm going to boil the kettle and do it properly, not rush it. I know my bowl's a little bit dirty, but that's just because I just had oats out of this, my pre-workout meal, and I didn't wash it fully. Apologies, no hate, please. But yeah, what's going on for this meal is 60 grams of oats, and I'm going to voluminize those quite a bit by putting in boiling water and then putting it in the microwave. And you'll see I use a bit, quote unquote, too much water, because that's how you're going to get the most volume out of your oats. And then what I'm going to do is add in 200 grams of banana, because I'm looking for a lot of food volume today. So yesterday I had Cocoa Pops with my oats, but today I want a bit more food volume. So 200 grams of banana, 60 grams of oats, and then what we're going to do is when they're cooked, we're going to add in 400 grams of 0% Greek yogurt. So this is the one I use at the moment. They're all pretty much the same, very, very little difference in calories. Once you're getting 0% high protein yogurt, this one is for little. So 400 grams of that is going to go in once all of this is cooked. And then you'll see it's quite a voluminous and filling meal, dense in protein and carbohydrates and quite low in fats, which is exactly what I want since we don't know how to cook oats, which we'll be now. So I don't want it completely boiling, just shy of it. And then I'm going to put it in so that it covers all the oats and that it almost looks like they're going dry. So you can see, oh, it looks so pretty, doesn't it, with the dirty bowl? It's over the full surface, and they will absorb all of that water when I put them in the microwave, and you'll see they fluff up quite a bit too. There you go, that's what I'm talking about. See how much volume that looks like? So you'll see they look quite fluffy and a lot thicker than they did initially. And I'm gonna actually throw them back in with the banana now. Let some of those starches in the banana break down, turn into sugars, and they're gonna be all sweet and stuff. So that's gonna make it very tasty. Add cinnamon. And to be honest, this is just for taste. I know people come up with lots of different physiological rationale as to why cinnamon is healthy and has all these benefits. And yeah, that is a bonus, but I do it for taste because I just love cinnamon flavored things. So I actually ended up going for 250 grams of the yogurt along with a scoop of whey protein, which works out at the same calories and pretty much the same protein, just because that's all the caramel whey is going to give it a hell of a good flavor. So I'm going to mix this up now, and then I'm going to eat, and then I will see you guys in the next video. So thanks for watching. Trying to keep these ones a little bit more short and sweet than previous vlogs we would have done, because we want to be really regular with our content. So I'm going to enjoy this, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and of course, be happy.